So if someone was coming to me with these same questions that you've been asking me today, like what would I do in this if I was in this situation again? I would really say, find you some experts. And when I say experts, someone like LBF Consulting Group, they can point you in the right direction. I think we're doing all this research on our own, and just because we're doing the research doesn't necessarily know that we know what we're talking about. I think you have tons of vendors that reach out to you every single day, and making the right decision on those who you choose to work with is so impactful. And when you have someone that can help guide that process, that's huge.
Sure. Chief Hughes, thanks so much for sitting down today and talking to us a little bit more about your experience working with LBF. Can you tell us a little bit about your law enforcement experience?
Absolutely. So I started out after a long career in pipe fitting and welding. My wife decided that wasn't the job for me, so I got into law enforcement after I graduated college. Stayed right where I graduated from at Georgia College State University. I was there for about 6.5 years. And then I took the chief job here 5 years ago, and I've been the chief here for the last 5 years.
So, Chief, I know we met at the Georgia Chiefs Conference a couple of years ago now during COVID, and you guys had some challenges that you were working with. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were partnering with a local vendor here in Covington that's literally like a mile down the road from us. They sold us a big story, what they could do from an integrating standpoint, that they could handle all of our monitoring, our cameras, access control, everything all in one place, including our fire. We got about a quarter of the way through the process, and they just sort of disappeared on us. The company is no longer in action anymore. So we were in a process where we're about to lose all this funding that we had allocated. And I was like, Matt, I need help, and he just run into you at the Savannah Chiefs Conference. And from that point on, man, it's just been a good relationship.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's been fun working with y'all. I know at that time during COVID, there were a lot of shortages and, it was hard to get product. And I think that's how we first came across Verkada, right?
Correct. So we were working mostly with access, you know what I mean? So everything was, our cameras were access. We were going access control with access as well. But about 6 months in, we found out we couldn't get any access control for another 9 to 10 months. So we'd heard about Verkada, and then running into you was, it was a blessing in disguise. We were able to transition to a new integrator, and it worked out perfectly.
Great. What do y'all like about Verkada?
Oh, the ability to take some of the work out of IT and give it back to the law enforcement side of things. We have a little more control on what we're looking for, how we monitor things, and the assistance, or I guess the help from Verkada has been significantly different than what I've had from any other integrator that we've used in the past, or hardware or software. So giving us the ability to take over a little bit of the ownership of the security side, physical security side of things, gives us the ability to monitor a lot better than we have in the past. A lot of times when it goes through IT, they put all these security protocols in, and we're sometimes, in a critical situation, we're trying to get through a firewall that we have no clue what we're doing. You know what I mean? And being able to put this in the cloud, take it out of a, server-based situation, gives us the ability to take some ownership and create what we're really trying to do, especially in a critical situation. I think that's been the biggest help we've seen. I'll just give you an example. We had a student on campus that he pulled a gun on another student. And if we would have had all this with IT, it would have been a struggle to be able to pull all that material in a short amount of time. We were able to identify the student, identify the car they were in, and find out what type of gun it was within about 15 to 20 minutes. Wow. And some of the other software we had used in the past, man, we'd have been working on this for hours. Trying to filter through video recordings, the ability to just go straight to a certain time period and pull that and know what you're looking for from what was that student wearing based off of what you got from, interviews from, victims and other people around. I think that's impactful. And I think that's where we've gained so much from it.
Are you guys using your phones to access it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I sit at home and I'm constantly doing that. You know what I mean? Like Sunday night, Newton County had someone that had escaped from a transport from the hospital back to the sheriff's office, or before he was about to be transported. And I was I literally had the cameras up all night, making sure there was no alerts, any of that kind of stuff. So
Did you actually enter them in as a person of interest?
we did, but because we only had a few, we didn't have all the information on what he looked like at the moment. We didn't find out till late that night, so we just monitored to see if anybody came on campus, because they said he was actually on City Pond Road, which is right here beside us, but we never seen anything, so that was a blessing as well.
Sure. Just having that technology at your fingertips.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, having the ability I'm sitting on my couch at home watching, I don't even know, probably Slow Horses. I think that's what I've been watching. And just being able to pull up the camera and see, hey, we don't have anything going on. We haven't got no alert from Verkada from a door being, open or anything like that. That's huge.
Yeah. So the system's really been able to change the way you police.
Oh, absolutely. It's a force multiplier. I mean, we're never going to have the staffing levels that we had pre-COVID. They're just not coming back. So the ability to put in, technology, software, hardware that makes us better, that's all we can ask for.
Do you think you guys will continue to transition from, your old system to all Verkada at some point?
Absolutely. The sooner we can be completely cloud-based, the better off we're going to be. For a multitude of reasons, but for the most part, to give us the ownership that we're in charge of physical security, not IT, who's all about security from a business continuity aspect. Their job is to make sure we're safe from the cyber stuff and things like that. But from a physical security, they don't know what we're talking about. They understand what you're saying sometimes, but they don't understand necessarily what we're asking, what we're looking for. Because we can tell you all day, and our IT guy looks like, oh, well, that don't impact what we're trying to do. So knowing what we're talking about and being able to tell you what we're talking about. I think we had this conversation at dinner one time where I was like, you can sell me a product all day, but you got to show me how to use that product. And with Verkada, there's not a whole lot of teaching. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. I always say if I can use it, anybody can.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Especially for me.
Chief, can you tell me a little bit more about, how this all came about with Verkada and, early on when we first started talking about some of your needs, can you kind of illustrate what they were?
Yeah, I think it was supply chain issues, the integrator we were using. There was just a struggle for them to understand what our concept was. Trying to find the exact place at what we were looking for was always a challenge. Sitting down with you at the Chiefs conference made it seem very easy that we could make this happen. We struggled with trying to find the right process to get to, and I'm very much someone who needs a process to get to where we're going. There needs to be some goals set forth. Every time we set a goal, the timeline for that integrator went back months on months. And I just needed something that said, hey, we're going to finish this in August. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you were able to get us, was someone who had the ability to meet the needs we needed.
I know that integrator, since, that we had some struggles with them as well. And since we moved on, and could you talk a little bit about how we've went through that process and kind of vetted some other integrators and found somebody to work with you on this final project?
Yeah, absolutely. So we did about a $500,000 project with that company. And throughout the process, we've seen things that were not quite up to industrial,
Standards.
Standards, you know what I mean? Like we weren't getting, the hardware wasn't correct. You know what I mean? Some of the things they did just didn't integrate into our school. So, we had those conversations a few times over the phone, and then we met in person again, and being able to find someone who understood what we were trying to accomplish with Alex was phenomenal. And, now we're doing a $1.5 million project with y'all, and it's all because of where you pointed us in the right direction. You know what I mean? Obviously we've done $2 million with LBF. So yeah. I think that's a big deal to show what y'all been able to do for us.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's a big deal for us too.
Yeah,
we appreciate your partnership.
I appreciate y'all. What y'all have done for us is it's going to make us the safest campus within the 22 schools of TCSG, and there's no doubt about it. So if someone was coming to me with these same questions that you've been asking me today, like what would I do in this if I was in this situation again? I would really say, find you some experts. And when I say experts, someone like LBF Consulting Group, that can point you in the right direction. I think we're doing all this research on our own, and just because we're doing the research doesn't necessarily know that we know what we're talking about. I think, you have tons of vendors that reach out to you every single day, and making the right decision on those who you choose to work with is so impactful. And when you have someone that can help guide that process, That's huge.
Well, Chief Hughes, thanks so much. Just like when we helped you guys, LBF kind of has a process in place today. And what we do as a company is we really kind of come in, assess what y'all are doing today, take a look at your cameras, your access control, maybe weapons detection, kind of do a full assessment there. And then from there, what we do is we come in and really look at the other vendors that are in the market, come out, help you guys with product selection, vendor selection. Typically, we're going to work with you on the state contract like we did.
Yeah.
So we're very familiar with about 4 or 5 state contract vendors that we work with. Depending on which integrator and manufacturer you want to use, we're able to pick the right contract vendor for y'all.
Absolutely. And I'll also say to this that when we went through this process, you didn't just give us recommendations. You gave us recommendations that would fit into the current software we currently had too. They were able to integrate seamlessly. So like in regards to like Fuses, Verkada, all that integrates into what we already currently had.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with the whole real-time crime center approach
Absolutely.
that law enforcement is going after today. And that's that proactive policing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we recommend Fusus and Flock all the time, even though they're products we don't sell.
Yeah.
Those are not, they just don't go through the channel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've had a lot of great experience working with both those vendors. And that's kind of the secret sauce, right? It's Fusus as the real-time crime center software. It's Flock for the license plate readers and being integrated with one another. And then it's Verkada for the on-the-edge analytics.
Absolutely. Been perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better.
So, Chief, I know you mentioned that there were a few different grants that you guys have been able to leverage for this technology. And the first one, I think, was the governor's gun violence grant, and the other was the Homeland Security grant. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So when we went through the gun violence safety grant from the governor's office, it was a big deal. We got $1.6.5 million. We were one of 5 agencies that got the largest sum that was given by the governor. And we were the only TCSG institution to get that. With, showing that we had the need, our infrastructure was not where it should have been from a security standpoint. And having people that had understood the grant writing process from LBF as well partnering with our grant writer, it just made it a smooth, seamless process. And to say that $1.6.5 million, that's no drop in the bucket, man. That's a big deal for a school like us.
Oh, yeah, that can change a lot of infrastructure
Absolutely.
and technology.
Absolutely. We came a long ways. I mean, like I said, we're doing a 300-door Verkada access control with y'all. I mean, who can beat that?
Yeah, that's almost all the doors across all your campuses.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the opportunity to work with you on those, and anywhere we can jump in to help, whether it's looking for codes or whatever.
Yeah.
We're always ready to do that for you.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure.